Hi, my name is Chris. We're going to be talking about Gibson guitars, and this is my Gibson right here. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Chris. We're here talking about Gibson guitars and our marketing plan. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen over. I'm going to share my screen right now. And it's just taking a minute, but here we go. All right, so here we are sharing our screen right now. We're going to go do a quick rundown of the Facebook strategy for Gibson guitars. So obviously you see my Gibson guitar. Let's talk a little bit about their marketing strategy real quick. So the Gibson brand, it was started in 1894 in Nashville, and it's now Gibson Music Instruments, one of the more iconic brands in all electric and acoustic guitar. Today, the Gibson enjoys a robust Facebook presence, over 7.5 million followers and 7.5 million likes. So Gibson's official Facebook page is down there, the URL address. Really interesting. If you look over to the right, I went ahead and snapped a couple of screenshots of some pages from Gibson's Facebook page, some posts. Dave Mustaine, who's the guitar player for Megadeth, and over to the right, you'll see Slash, who of course is one of the most iconic guitar players out there from one of the more iconic rock bands, Guns N' Roses. So these are familiar posts in Gibson's marketing strategy. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to make some critiques to that. So let's move on. So let's look at a little bit more about the content. So Gibson's Facebook page is operated by Gibson Brands Incorporated. Some of the things that they really focus to do on the Facebook site is to promote Gibson's rich tradition and history and music innovation. They also emphasize their ongoing commitment to craftsmanship and quality. Just new in 2020 was Gibson TV, which is their YouTube channel. And that's normally to really look at like what are they doing as far as their developments, new cool projects they're working on, custom lab stuff, collectors, people who play guitar, feature a lot of the latest and greatest by Gibson. And then also followers stay informed about artists and their use of Gibson instruments. And they promote Gibson subsidiary brands like Epiphone, which is their less expensive brand, Mesa Engineering or Mesa Boogie, which is an amplifying brand, and Kramer Guitars. All right, so looking at the competitors. So here we have a competitor. If you've ever played a guitar, ever seen people play the guitar, Fender is pretty ubiquitous, and it is a competitor to Gibson. So Gibson, unlike Gibson, Fender was founded in 1946, so they're a little bit newer, in Fullerton, California. Now they're based out of Corona, California, and they are another premier music instrument brand, right? And also they're known for their amplifiers too, not only their electric and acoustic guitars, but also their amplifiers. They have 13.6 million viewers and 3.5 million likes. They average about 3 to 5 posts a day. And they use their platform differently than Gibson. So instead of promoting like the latest, greatest, and the most expensive gear by iconic guitar gods like Slash from Guns N' Roses or Jimmy Page, they really kind of focus on teaching, learning, and creating through the journey of music as an art form. So it's a completely different marketing strategy. And they promote Fender Play, which is for novice guitar players to really get in there and just learn how to play the guitar. And it's a really good way for Fender as a brand, as a guitar company, to connect with people who are just learning and starting their musical journey. And if you look over to the right, you can see a gentleman here. His name is Santino Lee Saint, and he's an R&B singer, and he sings just a wonderful R&B ballad while he's playing electric guitar. And he's not well known, but he's singing wonderfully, and it's more of a space for less well-known people who are interested in music to find spaces to learn instead of just those iconic rock gods that most people will never obtain that level of mastery on their instruments, right? Over to the left is a Latina female guitarist promoting Fender Jazzmaster guitar and the Mustang amplifier. So we're seeing here diversity, gender diversity, different in Gibson, right? And these are Gibson's competitors. So if we look over here, we see it's kind of the same thing. So there's another competitor, D'Angelico. So if you look over to the right, you can see a female playing guitar, and she's not a shredder. She's not a rock icon, but she's somebody who is playing and is learning and growing through the journey. The same way with Joseph Solomon. He's an R&B singer. He's not a rock god. He's not a rock icon, but it's personal to him, and it's just a form of expression. So what Fender and what D'Angelico has successfully done is they found new guitar players, beginning guitar players, intermediate guitar players, people who want to use a guitar to express themselves artistically, who may not have mastery of the instrument, but it's a tool of expression. And they're promoting it to that audience instead of saying, hey, here's the best guitar players ever in the world, and look at them, right? So it's a different marketing strategy. So Gibson's current audience, I like this because this is from Gibson TV. They went to a guy's house and he was filthy rich. He had all the most expensive Gibson guitars, and he also had a pool. He had enough money to put a pool in his house that's shaped like a Gibson Les Paul, and the headstock is actually a jacuzzi. So it really must be nice to have that kind of money. So who is Gibson's current audience? They may have not planned it this way, but this is what it is. It's males, ages 30 to 60. The genres of music that they cater to are those who are interested in classic rock, hard rock, blues rock, metal, alternative rock. It's typically older white men. So if you think of the demographics who might be interested in a Harley Davidson, then you're probably looking at the same demographic that's interested in a Gibson. Intermediate to advanced level guitar players, even some wealthy collectors, middle to upper class incomes. And for most Gibson products, it needs to be an annual income about north of $60,000 individually. And for the Gibson custom shop, you're looking at annual incomes that are north of $80,000. As the average price of their guitars for non-custom shops, around $2,500, and for custom shop guitars, they're going to be anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 for those types of instruments, which is a lot for a personal purchase. So I've identified Gibson's new audience, or their untapped audience, and those are females, ages 18 to 35. Genres of music that are not well represented in Gibson in their marketing strategy on Facebook is soul, R&B, neo soul, jazz, indie soul, electric music, beginner to intermediate levels, lower to middle income levels, annual incomes greater than $30,000, but less than $60,000. The person to your left is Melanie Fay. She actually does a lot of promos for Gibson and D'Angelico. She's an amazing guitarist, and she's African-American. She's young. She's very soulful and expressive. And this is the market where I would like to see Gibson make more of a shift to. So I did a SWOT analysis. So just to paraphrase it really quickly, some strength of Gibson is the name recognition. They're legendary. I mean, you know, your iconic Slash from Guns N' Roses, B.B. King, Chuck Berry, the list goes on. Slash from Guns N' Roses, Joe Perry from Aerosmith. They're iconic with rock and roll, right? But their weaknesses is the price. This guitar that I'm holding was a Gibson ES335. That's like $3,700 to get one of these. I wasn't able to afford one until I'm in my 40s, right? And most this is inaccessible for most guitar players. And then also they have a reputation for quality issues, which if you're going to drop $3,000 or $4,000 on an instrument, you don't want any quality issues. So some opportunities for growth is that they can, the opportunities for growth is that over the pandemic, they just had opportunities to sell more guitars because people want to learn. Some threats are that inflation has gone up, and so there's issues in the supply chain. So now let's move on and talk about the target audience. So the target audience identified a person named Kira. This is not Kira, but this is just a person. 26-year-old African-American, works at Kansas City Art Institute, wants to pursue music full time. She's a singer-songwriter, plays acoustic guitars, performs locally, teaches music, and earns about $41,000 per year. All right, so some business objectives. So some objectives is change overall marketing strategy. The KPI should be new content added every month at 20%. Measurable, promote new music. The KPI for that should be 30% more diverse music on the site. Actionable, target local artists of color, make more diverse individuals from local music scenes to recommend content for the page. The KPI for that is 50%. Relevant, this will draw a new set of eyes and musical taste per page. And the KPI for that is 25% of non-white female traffic. We want to see more of that. And then time bound, the time bound frame for this is 12 to 18 months. The KPI is 100% of all above goals shall be met. So strategies and tactics are going to be new, more affordable guitars, a reduction of Gibson custom shop features. So we don't want to see that much stuff on the page because a $6,000 guitar is not really obtainable, and it turns a lot of moderate people off. Reduction of limited artist runs, again, the same thing with inaccessibility. Less rock icons and more local grassroots emerging artists. Shift the conversation from rock icons to learning and creating instead of mastery. Post daily and feature soul, neo soul, R&B, jazz, and eclectic music on the sites. So what have we learned today? We've learned ways that Gibson's brand can be more inclusive and accessible, right? By featuring diverse artists, featuring new music, having a different price point that's more accessible, changing the demographics of which they traditionally market to, and shifting the focus to the journey instead of the mastery of the instrument. And that's a little bit about our presentation about Gibson and the target audience that we are going for on Facebook. Thank you.